My dear brothers and sisters, every sunrise brings with it an invitation, a divine call to rise higher than we were yesterday. Life is not meant to be lived on the same level. Each day is a classroom designed by God Himself, filled with lessons that shape, sharpen, and strengthen us. The one who refuses to learn refuses to grow. The one who stops learning starts dying. Education is not just a phase of life, it is the rhythm of a purposeful soul. To educate yourself every day is to respect the gift of life, to honor the potential that God has placed within you. You see, knowledge is not found only in books or schools. True education begins when the heart opens to learn from every circumstance, every success, every mistake, every moment. Each experience carries a message. Every challenge is a teacher in disguise. The person who keeps learning becomes unstoppable because wisdom multiplies their strength, renews their vision, and expands their influence. When you educate yourself daily, you step into a flow of continuous transformation. You no longer live on yesterday's knowledge or yesterday's inspiration. You become a living fountain of fresh understanding and divine insight. Many people are waiting for opportunities, waiting for doors to open, waiting for others to lift them up. But the truth is, when you educate yourself, when you keep growing, you stop waiting, you start creating. The more you learn, the more capable you become. The more capable you become, the more valuable you are to the world. And the world rewards value. Every new piece of knowledge is a seed. When you water that seed through daily learning, it grows into wisdom, and wisdom always produces fruit, success, peace, confidence, and clarity. There is no shortcut to greatness. Greatness is built in the quiet hours when no one sees you reading, studying, listening, reflecting, asking questions, and seeking understanding. It is built when you choose to turn your phone off for a moment and turn your mind on. It is built when you refuse to be satisfied with what you already know. The humble heart keeps learning. The proud heart stops growing. So stay humble, stay hungry, and stay teachable. Let curiosity become your companion. Let the pursuit of knowledge become your passion. The world around you is changing every second. Technology evolves. Industries shift, ideas rise and fall. But the person who educates themselves daily stays ahead, not just in skills, but in wisdom, in spirit, in understanding. Every day, ask yourself, what new truth can I learn today? What skill can I sharpen today? What book can I read? What lesson can I take from this situation? Because every small act of learning today becomes a giant leap tomorrow. When you educate yourself daily, you're not just filling your mind, you're expanding your spirit. You're aligning yourself with divine progress. You begin to think higher, speak wiser, love deeper, and live better. You become an example, a light, an inspiration to others. And that is what true education is meant to do. Not just to make you smarter, but to make you a blessing. To bring wisdom to your home, excellence to your work, and understanding to your relationships. So don't let a single day pass without feeding your mind and spirit. Read something that challenges you. Listen to voices that lift you. Write down lessons that life teaches you. Reflect on what God is showing you through the journey. You may not see the results overnight, But one day you will look back and realize that every little effort to educate yourself built the person you have become, a strong, wise, and purposeful individual walking in the fullness of your potential. Keep learning, keep growing, keep becoming more. Because every new thing you learn opens a new door, reveals a new strength, and brings you one step closer to the person you were created to be. Every experience, success, and failure carries a lesson to grow from. Life is a grand classroom, and each moment is designed to teach something valuable if only we have the eyes to see and the humility to learn. Too many people rush through their days, celebrating success and cursing failure, without realizing that both hold wisdom hidden beneath their surface. Success teaches you what works, but failure teaches you why it matters. Success shows you the fruit, but failure teaches you how to grow the roots. Both are teachers sent to shape your understanding, refine your attitude, and deepen your perspective. Nothing in life is wasted if you treat it as a lesson. When you win, it is easy to become proud and forget the process that brought you there. But if you pause and reflect, you will see that every victory is built upon countless invisible lessons learned through struggle, persistence, and discipline. Every achievement is a collection of small insights gathered along the way. When you succeed, the lesson is to stay humble, to keep improving, and to remember that what worked today might not work tomorrow unless you continue to grow. Success should never make you comfortable. It should make you curious. Every triumph carries within it the wisdom to repeat and multiply it, but only for those who take time to reflect and learn from it. Failure, on the other hand, often comes wrapped in pain and disappointment. It is the teacher most people avoid, yet it is the one that teaches the deepest truths. Failure shows you where your understanding was shallow, where your effort was weak, where your faith was tested. It reveals what pride tries to hide. It is not meant to destroy you, but to rebuild you on a stronger foundation. If you approach failure with a learner's heart, you will discover that it refines your patience, strengthens your focus, and purifies your motives. Every mistake carries a message. Every setback carries wisdom. It is through failure that resilience is born, and through pain that wisdom takes root. The person who learns from both success and failure becomes unshakable. They are not controlled by outcomes because they know that every outcome holds value. When they rise, they learn. When they fall, they learn. Nothing is wasted. This mindset turns ordinary days into sacred opportunities for growth. It makes every conversation, every challenge, and every blessing a source of education. When you begin to live this way, you develop an inner strength that does not depend on circumstances. Whether the path is smooth or rough, you walk with understanding because you have learned that both are part of the process. Every experience in life is a mirror reflecting something about yourself. Some mirrors show your strength, others reveal your weakness, but all are meant to help you grow. The people who offend you teach you patience. The situations that frustrate you teach you self-control. The seasons of waiting teach you faith. The moments of loss teach you gratitude. Everything you encounter carries a lesson crafted for your personal development. When you recognize this, you stop blaming life and start learning from it. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" That one change in perspective transforms suffering into strength and confusion into clarity. Wisdom does not come from experiences alone, but from reflection upon those experiences. Every person goes through pain, but not everyone learns from it. Every person tastes success, but not everyone grows wiser because of it. It is reflection that turns moments into lessons and lessons into transformation. Take time to look back with open eyes and an open heart. Ask yourself what life has been trying to teach you through the things you loved and the things you lost. The greatest learners are not those who never fail, but those who never waste a failure. Life is a continuous cycle of learning disguised as living. Every sunrise brings new experiences, some joyful, some challenging, but all meaningful. The key is to approach each day as a student, to let every event teach you something about yourself, about others, about truth, and about God's purpose for your life. When you live with that awareness, nothing can defeat you, because even defeat becomes a lesson that pushes you forward. Every experience, every success, every failure becomes a teacher guiding you toward growth, maturity, and wisdom. Self-education creates opportunity, while stagnation destroys potential. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not luck, but the willingness to keep learning when no one is watching. Every new skill, every new piece of knowledge, every new insight opens a door that was once closed. The world does not stand still, and neither should you. Those who refuse to grow are quietly moving backward, because time moves forward whether they are ready or not. To educate yourself is to prepare for doors that have not yet appeared. It is to sow seeds of possibility long before the harvest is visible. Self-education is not only the pursuit of information, it is the act of keeping your spirit alive, your mind sharp, and your heart ready for the opportunities that learning brings. Many people wait for circumstances to change before they act, but those who educate themselves daily create the very circumstances others wait for. When you take the time to study, read, listen, and observe, you equip yourself with tools that can turn challenges into chances. A person who knows more sees more. Knowledge expands perception, and perception shapes destiny. You begin to recognize opportunities where others see obstacles. You start finding solutions where others only complain. Education multiplies your vision, and vision attracts opportunities like light draws attention in the darkness. The moment you commit to self-education, you begin to rise above the limitations that once confined you. Stagnation, on the other hand, is a slow decay. It doesn't happen overnight, but through small acts of neglect. The unread book, the unasked question, the unused idea, the unpracticed skill. The mind that is not challenged becomes dull, and the person who stops growing becomes trapped in repetition. Life loses its color when curiosity dies. You may have the same job, the same surroundings, even the same routine, but when you stop learning, everything begins to feel smaller, heavier, and emptier. Stagnation drains creativity, suffocates passion, and blinds the eyes to new possibilities. The person who stops learning stops leading. The one who refuses to grow becomes irrelevant in a world that keeps evolving. Self-education is not limited to formal schooling. It is a discipline of the heart and a hunger of the mind. It is the habit of seeking knowledge intentionally, not because someone demands it, but because you understand its value. It is about picking up a book instead of wasting hours on distractions, listening to voices that teach instead of those that drain, observing people who succeed instead of envying them. When you educate yourself, you build a library within your soul, a library of ideas, insights, and understanding that guide you through every season of life. It becomes your inner wealth, something no one can steal or diminish. Those who dedicate themselves to self-education often begin in silence. They study when others sleep, they listen when others talk, they prepare when others procrastinate. But one day, their preparation meets opportunity, and what looked like luck is revealed to be readiness. When the door opens, they walk through with confidence because they have trained for that moment. Opportunity always finds the prepared. It is attracted to diligence, discipline, and the quiet work of learning. While others are waiting for a miracle, those who educate themselves are building capacity to receive it. Knowledge without action is limited, but when learning meets practice, it produces transformation. The purpose of self-education is not just to know more, but to become more. Every lesson applied turns knowledge into power. The one who learns continuously becomes adaptable, flexible, and strong enough to face any change. No season can destroy the person who keeps learning, because they are always renewing their mind, refreshing their perspective, and reinventing their approach. They are never stuck, because learning always creates a way forward. When you choose to educate yourself every day, you are declaring that your potential deserves to be developed, that your mind deserves to expand, and that your future deserves preparation. The difference between mediocrity and excellence lies in that daily choice to keep learning when it's easy to stay comfortable, to keep improving when it's easy to settle. The one who embraces self-education will never remain trapped by circumstance, because education turns every limitation into a ladder. And the one who stops learning, no matter how talented, will eventually. Humility and curiosity are the foundations of continuous growth. Without humility, the mind closes, and without curiosity, the spirit sleeps. True wisdom begins when a person admits that they do not know everything and desires to keep learning. Humility opens the heart to receive new understanding, while curiosity drives the hunger to seek it. Together, they create a spirit that never becomes stagnant. The humble person listens more than they speak, observes more than they judge, and learns more than they boast. They understand that every person, no matter their background or status, carries a lesson worth learning. Curiosity keeps the fire of discovery alive. It pushes you to ask questions, to explore beyond what is comfortable, to dig deeper into truth rather than accepting surface-level answers. The problem with many people is not lack of opportunity, but lack of openness. Pride whispers that they already know enough. It convinces them that they are too experienced to learn from others, too advanced to be corrected, too knowledgeable to grow. But pride is the enemy of progress. The moment you stop being teachable, you start losing your edge. Every skill begins to fade when humility disappears. The world is full of lessons, but only the humble can recognize them. The proud see obstacles, while the humble see instruction. The proud resist change, while the humble embrace it. Humility is not weakness, it is the strength to remain open in a world that rewards arrogance. Curiosity gives life depth and richness. It is the voice inside that keeps asking why, how, and what if. It turns ordinary experiences into meaningful discoveries. A curious mind looks at problems not as burdens, but as puzzles to be solved. It finds joy in understanding how things work and why people act the way they do. Curiosity pushes you to read one more book, listen to one more idea, explore one more possibility. It refuses to let comfort become a cage. It leads to innovation, creativity, and growth because it constantly seeks better ways of doing things. When humility and curiosity live together, they create an unstoppable force for progress. Humility ensures that you never think too highly of yourself, and curiosity ensures that you never think too little of what is possible. A humble and curious heart also transforms how you relate to others. Instead of competing, you begin to connect. Instead of trying to prove you are right, you seek to understand. You start to see value in different perspectives and recognize that learning often comes through relationships. Even the smallest conversations can hold profound insights when approached with humility. A child can teach you wonder. A critic can teach you patience. A stranger can teach you empathy. Every person becomes a mirror reflecting something about yourself that you can improve or appreciate. The humble learn from everyone because they believe everyone carries a piece of wisdom worth hearing. When humility and curiosity are missing, life becomes narrow. You stop seeing possibilities. You start defending your old ways, clinging to outdated ideas, and fearing new challenges. You become more focused on being right than becoming better. Growth requires letting go of the need to be superior. It requires the willingness to be wrong, to be corrected, and to start again with fresh understanding. Every breakthrough in life begins with a question, and every question requires the humility to admit that you do not yet know the answer. That admission is not weakness, it is wisdom. The greatest inventors, leaders, and thinkers were driven not by pride, but by relentless curiosity grounded in humility. The combination of humility and curiosity also strengthens faith. It keeps you seeking truth, asking deeper questions about purpose, meaning, and destiny. It allows you to receive revelation because your heart stays open. When you humble yourself before God and remain curious about His ways, you keep growing spiritually. You begin to see that knowledge without humility becomes arrogance, and curiosity without humility becomes chaos. But when both walk hand in hand, they lead to balance, understanding, and maturity. A person with humility and curiosity becomes like fertile soil, ready to receive new seeds of wisdom and produce fruit in every season. They never reach a point where they say, "I have learned enough." They live in constant awe of how much more there is to know, how much deeper truth can go, and how much higher they can rise. Each day becomes an opportunity to discover, to learn, to be corrected, and to grow stronger in character and wisdom. It is through humility that growth begins, and through curiosity that it continues, creating a life that never stops evolving, never stops reaching, and never stops becoming more. Daily learning transforms knowledge into wisdom and purpose. The difference between knowing and understanding lies in the consistency of learning and reflection. Many people fill their minds with information, but never take time to digest it, apply it, or let it change who they are. Knowledge by itself can make you informed, but daily learning makes you transformed. It takes repetition, reflection, and practice for truth to move from the head to the heart. When you choose to learn every single day, you allow your mind to evolve, your spirit to mature, and your life to align with higher purpose. Each day adds another layer of insight, another piece of understanding, another drop of wisdom that shapes your character and your destiny. Daily learning is not about studying endlessly, but about living consciously. It means staying alert to the lessons life presents and being willing to learn from them. A simple conversation can teach empathy, a mistake can teach humility, a success can teach gratitude, and a challenge can teach perseverance. When you begin to learn daily, you start to recognize that life itself is the greatest teacher. Every sunrise brings a new classroom, and every experience becomes a lesson in growth. The more you learn, the more you begin to see patterns, connections, and meaning in what once seemed ordinary. You begin to live with awareness instead of habit, with understanding instead of assumption. As you learn daily, knowledge begins to settle into wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge refined by experience and illuminated by reflection. It is what guides your choices, shapes your words, and influences your behavior. Knowledge tells you what is right, but wisdom teaches you when and how to use it. It is through consistent learning that you gain this discernment. The lessons you absorb each day start weaving together into a deeper understanding of life. You begin to handle situations with calmness instead of confusion, grace instead of frustration, patience instead of panic. That is the quiet power of wisdom. It steadies the soul and strengthens the mind. Daily learning also reveals purpose. As you grow in knowledge and understanding, you begin to see where your strengths fit, where your passions align, and where your effort can make the greatest difference. Learning opens your eyes to who you are meant to become and how you can contribute to the world around you. Every skill you acquire, every truth you embrace, every mistake you learn from becomes part of your preparation for purpose. People often search for purpose as if it is hidden far away, but in reality, purpose unfolds through learning. Each day of learning moves you closer to clarity, one insight at a time. When you stop learning, life starts to feel repetitive, and your sense of meaning begins to fade. You start to live on autopilot, reacting instead of growing. But when you commit to learning daily, even small lessons add up to great transformation. You start to see progress, not because life becomes easier, but because you become wiser. The lessons that once frustrated you now empower you. The setbacks that once discouraged you now teach you. The unknown that once frightened you now excites you. You move from surviving life to mastering it, because every day of learning sharpens your perspective and deepens your purpose. The habit of daily learning requires discipline and humility. It means admitting that there is always more to know, more to understand, and more to improve. It requires consistency, even when progress feels slow. But just as the ocean is formed from countless drops, wisdom is formed from countless moments of learning. A single day of learning may not change your life, but a lifetime of daily learning will. It molds your thoughts, strengthens your decisions, and transforms your outlook. The person who learns daily never runs out of possibilities, because growth keeps renewing them from within. In a world that changes every day, daily learning keeps you relevant, alive, and purposeful. It protects you from ignorance, pride, and fear. It keeps your vision expanding and your heart aligned with truth. It turns information into illumination and transforms ordinary understanding into extraordinary wisdom. Through learning daily, you begin to live with intention, to act with clarity, and to move with direction. Each lesson you embrace becomes a stepping stone toward the person you are meant to be and the purpose you are meant to fulfill.